In the previous video, we have seen how to pass an array to a method. So this is completed. In this video, we will see how to return an array from a method. So how to return an array from a method? Let's say I have a method here, which is a test method. So the method name is test here, and I have an array, an integer array in this one. So I'll say int. The method name is arr1. So int arr1 equals to 1, 2, 3. So this is an integer array. So I would like to return this array. So I will say return arr1. So I am returning this array. Now for this method we will have a access modifier which is public. That means we can access this method from anywhere, and we have to mention a return type here. If we have primitive values that we are returning, let's say like int or float, something like this, then we can say we can mention the return type as int. But here we are returning an array here, so we have to mention that we are returning an array using int and square brackets. That means we are returning an integer array. We have to mention the type of the array in the return type. Similarly, let's say I have a string array. So string, and arr1 is the name of the string, and I am saying Selenium and Java. So this is the array, and I am returning the same array. So return arr1. Since here we are returning a string array, then we have to mention the return type is a string array. So string and then square brackets. So this is how we return an array from a method. Let us see this one more time. So how to return an array from a method? Let's say we have a method which is test, where I have an integer array. So int square brackets, and the name of the array is arr1, and I have initialized it with values. I have initialized this array with values 1, 2, 3, and I am returning this array, return arr1. So we have a access modifier which is public here, which means we can access this method from anywhere, and here I have to mention a return type. So if it is a simple primitive type values, then we can mention this as int, float, etc. in the return type. But since here we are returning an array, we have to mention this as int square brackets. Since here we are returning an integer array, we have to mention this one like this. Similarly, let's say we have a string array. So here it is string arr1 equals to, I have initialized this with values Selenium and Java, and I am returning this array. So since we are returning a string array here, we have to mention the return type as string array. Let's see an example on this one. I am creating a new class here, and the class name is return array, and I am using the main method. So the class is created. First I am creating a method here, and the method name is public int. I am returning an integer array, so I have mentioned the return type as an integer array, and I am naming this method as test. And now here I am defining an integer array. So int arr1 equals to, I am initializing the array to 1, 2, 3, 4, and return arr1. That means here I have initialized an array, and I am returning the same array arr1, and since we are returning an array, we have mentioned the return type for this method as an integer array. Now in the main method we will call this method test, and we will print the array. So since we are returning an integer array here, and we have to capture that in the main method, first I have to declare an integer array. So int, I will say arr2 equals to, then I will call this method test. So this is how we have to do. But here we have to create an object first, otherwise we have to declare, we have to name this method as static. So let's name this as static, public static, so that we can directly call this method test. So here type mismatch cannot convert from int to int. Okay, so here it is saying that it is not an integer array, so we have to declare this as an integer array. So now we can call this, since this is static also, we can call this method directly. So I have called this method directly. Now I have all the values of this array in this ARR2. Now let's print the values of this array. So I am using a for loop for int I equals to 0, I is less than ARR2 dot length and I plus plus. Now system.out.println and print the values of I. Let's run this one. Run as Java application, and it is printing the values of the array as 0, 1, 2, 3. Now let's say I have a string array here, so I'll define a string array. I'm just commenting this one and I will say string ARR1 equals to, I'll say Subbu, Selenium and Java. So I have created a string array. Since we are returning a string array, we have to rename this one as string array. We are returning a string array here. So here let's comment this one, and here it is showing an error. We didn't give the semicolon here, so let's give the semicolon. Okay, now here I have to create a string array to capture the returned array. So I'll say string ARR2 equals to, I'll call this method directly, so test. Now all the values of this array will come and store in this ARR2 string array. Now let's print this one. I will use an enhanced loop here, which is a for each loop. So for, I will give the name. First I have to give the data type. The data type is string. The elements of the array have the data type of string. So string, I will give it as name, and then the array name is ARR2. Now in the for loop, I will say system.out.println of name. So this is how we can print using a for each loop. So let's run this one. Run as Java application, and it is printing all the values of this array. So this is how we can return an array from a method. In this video, we have seen how to return an array from a method. If you want to download the document for this one, you can go to my repository at github.com/suppostech and then go to Selenium-Java-tutorials. This particular tutorial starts with number 22B. So search with 22B and you can find this here, which is Java arrays, returning an array from a method, and you can download the document. In the next video, we will see what is an array index out of bounds exception in Java.